What is happening, everybody? My name is Beth and welcome back to Every Day is Spooktober. Now, we are back with another review, of course, and this time it's not anything that's brand new that we are reviewing. It's something that came out quite a few years ago, is a horror classic and has inspired so many. I may get this a lot, but if you're a horror fan, how have you not seen this film? You know what, like, this is what this channel's about. As I always say, we're just exploring more. This channel is to explore more of the horror genre and films that I just haven't seen yet, and there's so many more classics that I haven't seen that I will get to, but for now we are talking about Poltergeist from 1982, a Steven Spielberg production. Let's not waste any more time and let's talk about and review Poltergeist. Obviously, everyone knows the iconic image of a little blonde girl, a little child with her hands on the screen of a TV, like communicating with some kind of spirit or something through it. We all know that image. We all know about the Poltergeist in general. Obviously this came out in 1982, so it's not old, but it's old enough that it's inspired so many, and I think, don't get me wrong, I think this film is creative, is very detailed, very imaginative, an interesting take on sort of ghosts and paranormal activity. Obviously Poltergeist, you don't really see anything, and that was like my first concern when watching this film. Like, if you have been following the channel, you know that I love to visually see these things. I love to visually see these weird creatures and monsters and demons and whatever it may be. Like, I like the visuals. So I was a bit concerned going into this film, but then again, Steven Spielberg does have fantastic imagery and has his own sort of quirky vibe on writing and directing his films and the way that they look and how it tells a story. Overall, I think the film was okay. However, it also, looking at it now, it wasn't great. Which really sucks to say, because I had really high hopes for this film. Like, this film is hyped up. Like, this film is so hyped up. The amount of times, like, family members have been like, you need to watch it, it's so good, it scared me so much as a child. I mean, like, it's very hit or miss, because I got the same when watching The Exorcist, for example. When I watched The Exorcist, so many people told me, like, it scared them as a child, and I can see why, because The Exorcist is quite heavy. However, Poltergeist, it's more, I was getting more, like, fantasy vibes from the film, and that's very Steven Spielberg. He's very fantasy-driven, I think, in the way that he presents things and how he makes things look. But, like, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't blown away with this film. I think the first half had so much potential, and then I think the second half just massively let it down. I think the setup of, like, bringing these ghosts to the house and of, like, Carol Ann going missing, I think the whole build up to that is done well. It's engaging, it's intriguing, you want to know more, you want to know, my biggest question for this entire film was, what does this, like, portal, what does this other world look like? And we never actually get to see what it looks like, and I think that's what this was missing. Although I'm aware that you don't see any creatures massively, that's the whole point of Poltergeist, is you don't see it, things just move around on their own. So I'm aware that was the film we were stepping into, but it just, I guess I just had higher hopes as to, like, what we were going to see. I think, like, the practical effects and the way things were done were quite, they were decent, I guess. It's really hard to judge these kind of films when, we're so far in advance with our technology and the way films look nowadays. Like, it's really hard to judge films nowadays that were made in, like, the 1980s or even further. All the characters were interesting. I think the plot until about halfway was good, and then it just lost me when Tangina, the, like, paranormal investigation woman, came in and was like, this is what's happening to your home, this, that, and the other. And it was like, that's great that you're coming in there and helping this family and stating the facts, but it's like, can we get some kind of Like, how do we know you're a professional? You're not just making this up. How do you know what to do? Where's your ghost hunting license? Show us an example, or like display that you know what you're doing and you can like, do something to communicate better with these ghosts or whatever that are in the other world. It felt like that was massively lacking, and I think that's where it sort of started to lose me a bit in terms of just engagement. I was like, like, she's not, she didn't play a believable investigator in my opinion. I think she just said a lot, and like we didn't see much from her. And then like towards the end when the portal's open and she's gonna like jump through the portal to go and save the daughter, I just thought it was like kind of dumb that the mum takes over that job instead and then goes to get the daughter, because in a way it felt like, right, so what did you actually do here? It was technically the parents and the family that actually solved this case. So I don't know if she was really needed, or maybe she could have had more input, but her character felt very sort of, there was a lot of lacking within her dialogue and her sort of purpose of the film. And then obviously when we think everything's over, it's not over. Big plot twist. We obviously find out that the house is built on like a burial ground where there used to be a cemetery, and they've just built loads of houses on it. My first question is, if there's been a plot of land where they've just taken away all the tombstones and then built houses on top of it, why is the Freeling family the only family that is getting all these hauntings and stuff going on? Why is no other house on this plot of land getting haunted? Because at the same time, logically, every single house on that ground would be happening. Okay, maybe the Freeling house was built on top of, like, I don't know, the main sort of section of the grounds that had the most dead bodies, but like it doesn't make sense for them to be the only ones like being attacked. It's just their little plot of land that has all these dead bodies. Like, it just doesn't seem logical, realistic in a way. So that kind of annoyed me, because then at the end, when all like the dead skeletons and the bodies are popping up, there was some cool effects with that, and some of them did look quite creepy, I will admit, but it just seemed kind of silly, because we have the Freeling family like freaking out, the house is going insane, all these dead bodies are popping up everywhere, and all the neighbors are like walking out of the house like, what the hell's going on? Like, they should have been involved in some way. And I think it would have been better if, I'm aware like the street sort of gets attacked at the end, but I think it would have been better if every house had some kind of inclusion with what was going on with that family as well. And then I think it like ends off with like quite fun and cute, where like the family end up leaving and they go to like a hotel, and then there's like a TV in there, and the dad like kicks the TV out and he's like, hell no, we're not having this in here. And then like the film ends. I'm aware there's a couple Poltergeist films that follow after this, and there was a remake made of the Poltergeist in 2015, and I actually watched that one like when it came out, and I just remember like it not being very good. So going into this, I had high hopes, but then I was thinking, if that was what they could do with Poltergeist in 2015, I didn't have high expectations for, this one to be any better. The 2015 one definitely like impaired my judgment, but the Poltergeist 2015 completely flopped. So I think the 1982 one definitely is better, but yeah, like that was just sort of what I took from it. I've got it on DVD, so it's on the shelf, it's obviously going to be there, and I'm going to have a copy of it, but I don't think I'm going to revisit the other ones. Like I've said before, I'm very much someone that likes to see the hauntings, the demons, the ghosts, the weird stuff. Like, I like to see it all, and I think sort of a Poltergeist type of film just isn't really my kind of thing. Although, like I said, I can definitely see inspiration of one of many Spielberg's films, and I was quite shocked that he was a part of this, because he strikes me more of a like fantasy type of writer director rather than a horror one. Although I have to say, I didn't find this Poltergeist scary at all. I think it was more like a fantasy, like I keep saying. Like, that's what it felt like. I wasn't scared, I wasn't on edge. I think the only cool part of it definitely had to be one of the like tech guys got bit, and then like he was like tearing his face off in the bathroom and imagining it. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, that was probably like the only part that like kind of shook me and was like, oh my god. That's just sort of it, you know? I think I'm rating Poltergeist 1982. We'll go 4.5 out of 10. You know, it was interesting, but it just, for me, it just wasn't my kind of movie. Glad I've seen it though to understand what the hype was, and I can see back then it probably was terrifying. Once again, it's really hard to judge this stuff when we have the type of films we have out nowadays and technology being so advanced. So yeah, that was my review of Poltergeist 1982. Let me know what you guys thought. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Was there anything about it that, I don't know, scared you maybe? I'd be interested to know. Thank you guys again. Do not forget to like and subscribe if you like this video, and I will see you on the next review.